Hi everyone, welcome to another podcast. It's me, Vernon, Darren, Fletcher, the main man. Look at him with his silver rinse. It suits you that, pal.
It's always better. I'm just come back from Corfu. A bit more of a tan. There's a bit of a George Hamilton look going on, don't you think, Vern?
It's strong. Hamilton. You look more handsome than ever, Darren.
Do you know? I went to a ball last night, and I was sat at the same table as Tommy Fordham. You know, those mallet trainers and all that.
Yeah.
So I went for like a black shirt, black tie, like a creamy jacket. I was a cross between a waiter and a Colombian hitman, right? And Tommy said, with the silver hair and the tan and the jacket, I could be in a cool water commercial. Yeah, cool water. He must have had a bottle of cool water. Everybody,
it off.
Yeah, that's the one.
Very good.
Anyway, you well?
Yeah, really good, Darren. Thank you very much. Busy week, doing all kinds of stuff. Down sounds of the 90s. We did Newcastle and Scarborough back to back.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that was pretty
we were in Corfu, sat on sun lounges, having it off. International break, having a rest. It's the first week in about 16 I've not been to an Oasis concert, so it's been quite strange.
I tell you what. If Noel Gallagher ever goes off sick, there's one person who can fill his boots. Now that you know the set list, inside out, back to front, upside down.
Yeah, well, I was at this do last night, and they had a band on called the Burgundies, who weren't bad, like a covers band, you know. And I was with a fella who knows Noel as well, so we had a bit of a sing along to Champagne Supernova. So I didn't realise he'd sent him the video, and we just got back Old Kids on the Block, which I thought was harsh.
Brilliant. It's true though, let's be honest. He don't miss his words, you know, always honest, is Noel. Listen, as we're chatting, we're recording this. It's the New York Jets and the Denver Broncos are at Tottenham Stadium. And we've had the international series since 2007, since that very wet game between the New York Giants and the Miami Dolphins. And that kind of started the snowball rolling rapidly down the hill with regards to the international series. It's gone on leaps and bounds. There was a season where we had 4 games over here in London, and now we've settled with 3. The Jacksonville Jaguars seem to be our home team. They've dedicated and committed a couple of games every year since the past 5 years, I think, to the London International Series. It goes on in Frankfurt as well, other cities in Germany. Madrid's on the calendar. We've got South America. People are saying Saudi Arabia. Australia is happening very, very soon as well. So this international series is basically the opportunity for the NFL to sell an international series package to American broadcasters so that they get an early game on a Sunday. And they're hoping that there'll be a very early game every Sunday on the American network so that fans can consume and devour NFL throughout the whole of game day Sunday. Now, what's interesting is we've just had an off-air discussion as to whether we're getting complacent, whether we're getting a little bit tired, or are we just really used to the NFL being in town? Now, bearing in mind that it's the Jets versus the Denver Broncos, and at the moment, it's a terrible game.
Yes. I think that's being disrespectful to terrible games. Justin Fields might be giving one of the worst displays of an NFL quarterback that I can remember in quite some time. Yes, it's not very good. But looking around the stadium from where I am, being at home, most of the seats are taken. I couldn't tell you categorically it's a complete sellout. I don't know, but it's a healthy crowd. Before we kind of get into this, there's a couple of points I'd like to make. One is that the majority of the time when you hear anybody speak about the NFL, it's and I've been guilty of this in the past, it's often through rose-tinted glasses because there's some vested interest in it for you, because we love covering it and we're trying to do the sell job because, in a way, we're trying to help the NFL UK office build the brand and the sport over here. So first and foremost, I've been the victim of that. But today, today, before you come in, I would like to be a lot more honest based on what I feel and see with the way that it is now.
Yeah, I agree. And I will add to that you and I have been into the game since the mid-80s. So we've seen it through peaks and troughs. We've seen it in its infancy in the UK when everyone had a Walter Payton or a Dan Marino, Joe Montana, or even an Art Monk wide receiver for the Washington Redskins t-shirt. And we've seen it progress through television for the first live Super Bowl. I remember the first live game on a Sunday that was broadcast on Channel 4 in the UK. And I think what you were referencing there is you and I and fans of our ilk, we feel that we have a little bit of ownership with the NFL in the UK because we've been there at the infancy and we feel like it's our baby because American football is a niche sport. And I know there's a big brouhaha in the NFL UK office about the NFL wanting to be one of the sports of choice within households in the UK. So you and I, we have this feeling of it's our game. We love this game. You know, leave it alone. Stop messing with it. Yeah, we've got London games. We love it. Brilliant. You and I have been to multiple Super Bowls and we've seen what it's like across the pond and we've seen, noticed and observed the similarities of the game, what we're attempting to do over here. But now with these past two games, the Browns, the Vikings, the Jets, the Broncos, it's not very good.
No, and I would say two things. The first and foremost, the most excited I've ever been to get a ticket for any sporting event was in the summer of 1986 when I got my hands on a ticket as a teenager to go and watch the Chicago Bears play the Dallas Cowboys. The Fridge scored a touchdown. My first visit to Wembley, never been more excited. What pushed it close was when I was able to buy a ticket for the Giants against the Dolphins because I was then going to see a regular season game live for the first time in my life. And I'd also put the caveat in, just so people know, if I go to watch a game at Wembley, only once have I been given a ticket. I've always bought tickets. So I do the same as everybody else. If I don't work, I buy the ticket and go and put my hand in my pocket like you should. I don't get invited. So I feel like I can speak as a consumer as well as someone that's had a bit of a connection to the NFL for a period of time. One thing that I expected to happen this year was I expected there to be a real buzz in Dublin about their game because they've waited a long time. The heritage is there. They get a game, and it felt, I think, in Dublin, by all accounts, everybody who was there told me that it felt like it felt in London the day in the rain the Giants played the Dolphins. So I knew that would be great. The novelty value, the uniqueness of it, etc., the first time. I look at these games now in London, though, and I'm not necessarily sure who's that bothered if you're not actually there. I mean, I don't see any coverage in the newspapers. I don't see any coverage on the television unless you're a rights holder. I don't see the quarterbacks or the coaches popping up anywhere on chat shows or anything like that. There doesn't seem to be any reach. Now, I know that when they came, they got this idea and this ambition, which there's nothing wrong with that they wanted to be one of the top sports in the United Kingdom as a standalone sport and be able to compete with any sport in the United Kingdom that's not football. Pie in the sky if you think you're ever going to compete with football, but there was a genuine belief that they could get themselves on a par with cricket and rugby union. I'm looking at this and I just don't see it. I don't know why that is. I have a radio program on a Friday on a national platform on 5 Live. And I think it's about 8 years since I've been offered the chance to interview an NFL player in an international series week. So there doesn't seem to be, it's a sport program. So it's kind of reaching the target audience. So I don't quite know where it's got lost in the works. What they're still doing to try and become the sport that they wanted to be in terms of standing in the United Kingdom. What they're doing to try and turn it from a niche sport into a more mainstream thing. I don't tend to feel the buzz now when the international series is here. It's just here. And it's kind of, yeah. And I've got to say, I had no desire to travel all the way to London to see the Browns, the Vikings, the Jets, the Broncos. I love the NFL. I'll happily go to the US and watch games over there. We're going to go on a trip with Elite Sports Travel. We're going to watch the Rams against the Seahawks. We're going to see the Raiders against the Cowboys. I can't wait. I want that experience. I'd sooner get that experience. The novelty factor for this, for me, has worn off. And it feels to me disconnected now. It's almost like it doesn't belong to us anymore. When it first came, I think it was inclusive. I don't think it's inclusive anymore. I think they've got a target market that they're trying to get to. And if you're not in that target market, it's not for you anymore. Somebody said it to me the other day. I criticised a couple of bits. I criticised the coverage on Channel 5. And I criticised a couple of things that had gone on around the international series game. The response I got was, it's not for you. It's not aimed at you. So I'm sat here thinking, well, hang on. In my house, living in my house now, with 2 kids, my wife. And I'm the one that goes to work, right? If it's not aimed at me, who else is going to buy the tickets, buy the jerseys, take people to the game? Who? If I'm not your target audience, I'm not your market, and I should be, because in the US, I would be, right? If I'm living in the US, I'm exactly who they're looking for. Mr. Meat and Potatoes is going to go and buy a season ticket, take the family tailgate, buy all the jerseys, have it off every week, right? In the UK, that's not me, apparently. So I don't really know, Vern, and you're a lot cooler than I am, but I don't really know what they're aiming at, what they're trying to do, what they're trying to be, and where it's going. So I'm pretty ambivalent towards it. Really, it's on the TV, and I'm watching it, and it's 10-9, 5 minutes to go, and I'm thinking, if I'd gone there today, I can't park. There's no tube apart from Seven Sisters. There's however many miles down the road. It's going to take me forever to get away, and it's 10-9. And one of the quarterbacks looked like he's never played before, and I'm looking, thinking, it has to be better than this. It used to be better than this. It used to feel different to this, and all of the issues that I'm outlining, a few years back, I would have said, I'm not bothered about that because being there far outweighs it. Now it doesn't, if you get where I'm coming from.
Yeah, I do, because we've been spoilt, really, Darren, if you think about it, since 2007, to have regular season games that we've become accustomed to. And we've had divisional rivals. We've had former Super Bowl winners, previous year's Super Bowl winners. We've had teams that have gone on to win the Super Bowl after playing in London. So we have in the past been kind of spoilt with the team selections. All 32 teams have been over here now. So we've ticked every box. Every fan base has been catered for. And now we're on rinse and repeat. And we know that the Jags are going to come regularly. It seems that those franchises that have got some intellectual property investment over here will come over. The Jets, the Bears, the 49ers in particular. And I think we've got the Dolphins as well. I'm not too sure. Don't quote me. And definitely the Jags. But I totally get where you're coming from, Darren, because we're not that target demographic. They've got us. Like the NFL has us.
Have they? Because I'm sat in
I know, just give me 1 second. No. But what I mean is we consume the game regularly. So we are their A1 fan base. They've got us, whether it's absolutely garbage or not, you're sat there as we're speaking actually watching the game. So whether you like it or not, Darren, you're in. They've got you, you know. That's all they want. But as far as them promoting the game is, they want what we were. They want to promote it to the kids so that they can go to their meat and veg, their parents, and say, I want to go to the NFL, please. Because I remember Big Norman taking me and my brother every Sunday to watch the American Bowls. We went religiously every year. And we'd get back at 1 a.m, school on a Monday. Dad would tootle off at 4:30 in his truck and go to work. That was us, hook, line and sinker. And I think in this modern age, they're using the digital platforms to do that. You've got people you and I may not necessarily have heard of, but our kids will have, promoting the game. And they don't necessarily know the game, but they've been given a fair packet to say, yeah, NFL, I'm all over it. And I think it's an interesting marketing technique that they're using. But like you say, I do think that them at the higher echelons, the fan base, the more experienced fan base is somehow being forgotten. And it'll be interesting to see what statistics to come out with, because the game last week, I think it was, the Browns and the Vikings, there was tickets still available.
Yeah, mate, I'm looking around this stadium, whenever they pan into the crowd, and I'm not seeing school trips. I'm not seeing kids. I'm seeing fellas that look like me and you in a variety of different shirts. That's all I'm seeing. I'm not seeing anything else. My lad's 17, right? Loves his music, loves his fashion. He's perfect. No interest whatsoever in the NFL, because unless he sticks on Sky on a Sunday night, which he doesn't, 'cause he's doing something else, he never hears about it or sees it because it's nowhere else. This is the point I'm making. It doesn't hit the national press, doesn't hit mainstream television. So he's not really going to stumble over it and think, I quite like that, because you'd have to take him to it. And I thought by now that this would be part of our media culture, coverage culture, that you get more of it. Now, I know TalkSport do a lot of it. I know that. And I know 5 Live do it on a Sunday night on the radio, have a game every week. And then, of course, you've got the coverage from Neil and the team, which is always fantastic. And then we've got this other version on Channel 5 this season. And over the course of the whole season, we'll find out whether that works or whether it doesn't. And when Super Bowl Sunday comes around, it's going to be broadcast on Channel 5 and on Sky, as this game today is being done right now. But I still think it's only hitting the people that know it's there, if you get what I mean.
No, I do. You don't. You're absolutely right. We know where it is because we are fans. And another thing that's interesting, and I'm not talking out of school here, but you and I have got a lot of experience with the NFL on the terrestrial platforms. I've hosted it on Channel 4. You've compared it on ITV. It's back on Channel 5, which is where it was. OC and Jason did a great job on the BBC with Mark and Dan. And it just bounces around. Now, the big question is, why does it bounce around? Why is there not a regular terrestrial network host? It's mind-boggling. Because every network that gets it says, oh, we're going to do this, we're going to do this, we're going to do this, we're going to do this. And they do. But it's either not good enough or it doesn't work. So the networks say, no, I don't want it next year. You're fine, thank you.
Yeah. I don't think it's ever been renewed, has it? I don't think it's ever been renewed. I think every cycle it's moved somewhere else. Every cycle. It might go back again.
It's so bizarre.
Yeah.
And I kind of feel like at the moment I kind of feel, well, it is what it is. And I always said to people, oh, the NFL's because people outside of the NFL circle will always bite on the bait that they dangle. Oh, it's getting bigger, it's getting more popular. Is it? I still don't think NFL is as popular now as it was between 85 and 88.
Yeah, I'd agree. And certainly in terms of the public consciousness, that back then, people who weren't NFL fans knew who the Fridge was. Now, whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, they knew who he was.
You knew who Dan Marino was.
Yes, if you stood on Oxford Street now and threw a defensive lineman's name out, the vast majority of people would have no idea. But back in the day then, if you said the refrigerator or Willie Berry, everybody would say the big fella from that American football team. They might not know that, but they knew he was. So I would agree with you that there was a wider knowledge and a wider acceptance of it back then. And by the way, you've just got to remember back then that the amount of people that were paying to go and watch British American football teams play in their league, which is unheard of now. I mean, you played for the London Warriors, but I mean, we had a team in Nottingham called the Hoods, and they were getting into the thousands. There was a stage where the Hoods were getting as many as like Notts County and Mansfield. It was crazy. And everybody was paying, and they were importing Americans, and they were sponsored by Bell Fruit and all this kind of thing. That they were selling merchandise. I mean, you couldn't do that now. I mean, they were, in Nottingham, a legitimate sport, along with Forest, Notts County, the Nottingham Panthers, and the Nottingham Hoods. They were the 4 sporting things with the cricket team that you'd do. That was it. But they were in that argument because they were filling up every week. You couldn't do that now. So my point is this. The budget to try and grow the sport is astronomical now, way more than it was then. But it's not getting to the heart of it. It's not making it any less niche than it was. And here's an interesting thought. I think a lot of these international series games now are a better experience for American fans who travel with their team than British fans who go and watch it at Tottenham and Wembley.
Oh, without doubt.
When you stand there and you're in the stadium, fans of the Jets who have come over in force having the time of their lives watching the Jets in London.
Yeah.
But we're sat there as NFL fans saying this is not great. And the Jets were here not that long ago. When they came last time, they were crap too. And I think it's a better experience in a way now for the Americans coming to the UK and than it is for the UK fan watching it here. And I think that for the strategy of the NFL in New York is quite a good thing, because if they want this every week on an 9:30 kickoff, East Coast, every week of the regular season, you've got to have the buy-in of the fan base of the teams that are going to travel, and they've got to travel with them to give it that too. So I think that works. It's probably good from an American standpoint, but I don't know where it's taken us here.
Yeah, it really is fascinating. And don't get me wrong. Listen, I know we're throwing down a lot of negatives, but we're only throwing down negatives because we're both passionate about it, and we feel really passionate about the situation and the scenario. There's a big push for flag football at the moment. I know there's a lot of schools in central London that are playing flag football. There's a big push for the Olympics to host flag is now an Olympic sport. So
Yes.
the standard of that, obviously, the NFL I would assume that they want your Patrick Mahomeses, your Tyreek Hills to go out there and absolutely annihilate everyone, to put American football under the spotlight globally, because there's only 6 teams participating, which would be really interesting to watch that pan out. So there's a push for flag football. There's no sponsorship, no major sponsorship for the British American Football League in the UK. Back in the day when we played, it was Budweiser. It was the Bud League. Yeah. Budweiser gave out a load of money. And there was a year, I think it was 87 or 88, where each British American football team was partnered and paired with an NFL team. I remember the Manchester All-Stars, who I played for, we were partnered with the Minnesota Vikings. So we had the Vikings logo on our shirt with the NFL shield on top of a Union Jack. So there was interest then. And then we had the Euro Bowl and all that kind of stuff. The World League, that didn't really take off, but it gained notoriety and people were aware of it. And then it teetered off. And then it came back with the International Series. And I think you and I, through that period of time from 85, we've seen it all. We've seen all the kind of the way they market the game. We've seen it on the back pages. NFL today only gets recognised Monday morning after the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. That's where you get a bit of footage on the news programmes in the morning.
And I think the Jags have done enough to establish themselves as a franchise in London, but I don't think they've done enough to establish a fan base that warrants the back pages writing about them. So if they are to become London's team, they really need to get under the skin of the British media, the British sporting media, and they need to allow the British sporting media to have access to the Jags over in America, and then a more intimate access when they come over here, so that fans who aren't necessarily big fans of the NFL can understand what it's all about. They've really got to strip it back. Like, if you've got one of the major premier quarterbacks in the NFL and you're the Jacksonville Jaguars, would you not put him on the Graham Norton show?
Yeah. I thought that this would happen. I thought this would be the plan. And by now,
it's obvious.
They would be legitimate sports people to the masses in the UK, that you'd know about it, that it would be in the newspaper. And I can't work out why it's not, because they've put so much behind it. And by the way, I've got to give them a lot of credit.
Trevor Lawrence, no, Darren, should be a household name.
Yeah, but I've got to give them credit because they put the money where the mouth is and they've come and done it. And I still, and I'm biased because I like him, but I think they miss Alistair Kirkwood's drive in there. We wouldn't have got the regular season games without him. And he worked tirelessly and fought a lot of battles in New York to get it and convince them that not only should we have it, but it would work. And he worked tirelessly to do that. And I think the strategy that was being employed on his watch was a lot more in line with what's needed here than what we get now. And I think I think if they rewound it to the start of this, when we first got the Giants playing the Dolphins for the first regular season game, which madly is 18 years ago. But I think there was a much bigger chance at that point that they would become mainstream than where they are now. It seems to me as though it's drifting further away and becoming more niche again, which would be a worry. It's fine if you're an NFL fan in the UK, you've got nothing to worry about because they're going to keep the games here. We might not get 3. It might reduce. But if they want a television package for a 9:30 Eastern game every Sunday in the regular season, they need international territories and they need international games. So there's no concern that it's not going to be here because London will be one of the locations, along with whatever new ones they come up with, Madrid, Germany, Dublin. I mean, they're all starting to Brazil. They're all starting to pile up. They're starting to get a stack of territories where they are. So we're not going to lose the game. But I don't know whether it's not maybe time for a bit of a rethink. I mean, it could just be that we're unlucky, that when they put the games out, they expect they're going to be better than they are. But I don't know, there's a lot of flat ones. This today, it's 11-10 now, and Fields are still no better, but the Jets bizarrely are winning. They might win for the first time this season. But I don't know whether we're unfortunate in that regard, that we're not getting very good games or what. I just don't know. I just feel it needs a bit of stardust sprinkling back on it. It needs a bit of pizzazz. Let me just give you this one before you come in. I saw a clip today. The red carpet was a fella from Made in Chelsea, right? And he's talking. He's got a Chargers shirt on. It's the Jets playing the Broncos. He's got a Chargers shirt on. He's a Chelsea fan, so he's saying it's bizarre being in the Tottenham ground, and he can't imagine sitting next to a Spurs fan watching a Chelsea-Tottenham game or Tottenham-Chelsea game, but he's going to sit next to other fans today. And I'm looking at that and I'm thinking, okay, so if my lad at 17 or some guy 18, 25, whatever it is, the target audience, well, my wife would know who he is, but nobody else in my house would. So I'm kind of looking again thinking the red carpet is not an A-lister that they're rolling out. I'm not going to mention the guy's name, I can't remember it. But what I'm saying is, when the NBA were in Paris last year, David Beckham and Thierry Henry were courtside. The night they played the first game in the O2, Sir Paul McCartney was courtside in London. Now, the NFL, I think, have got to do better. Whatever the red carpet is, there's got to be people that people actually know. And all of a sudden you say, oh, right, okay, well, they're there, so I want to be there. Because you want to be where the superstars are. You want to go live their life for a day. You know, we're all guilty of that. So I'm looking at that and I'm thinking, is that really red carpet? Is that where we are now? I mean, surely there's this higher profile people that would fit the bill. I mean, there was a time when Harry Kane would go. There was a time when you'd do the coin toss. My friend.
Oh, I gotta remember that.
Right, in your Tampa Bay top. But what I'm saying
is... Joe Calzaghe.
Yes, but there you go. You and Joe Calzaghe, right? You and Joe Calzaghe, right? High-profile people within the UK who have a presence and a following, and people know they are. But that's another way it's changed. Now it's niche in terms of who the guests are. You've got to be a certain genre and have certain interests to even know who they are. So, to me, again, you need people of profile to be who you're going to build the day around. Do you see what I mean? I don't know what it's like now, but they used to do the tailgate parties, which I think they've stopped. And they were great. And you'd end up with Ray Lewis on the stage, which was Jerry Rice sat with John Elway in the Great Hall at Wembley with me, right? And we sat and we did an hour. I think the year after, I had Franco Harris talking about the Immaculate Reception. Another year, I had Joe Montana. Another year, I had Michael Irvin and Emmitt Smith. This is NFL royalty. Who's here now? I have no idea. I don't know. Which is Joe Namath here with the Jets?
Yeah.
I have no idea. Is John Elway here with the Broncos? I doubt it. But I know that there's a fella from Made in Chelsea who's on the red carpet. But you see?
Yeah. No, I get it.
I might be wrong. I might be off. But I totally.
It's
valuable product in the US, but it doesn't feel that way here.
Yeah, I totally understand what you're saying. I really, really do. And you know, we're talking like this because we are genuine fans of the game. Let's not make people think, oh, you're just slagging it off because of A, B, and C. No, 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 no.
No,
We're saying this because we're concerned for us American football fans here in the UK. That's all it is. That's all it is.
Vern, I am more concerned about that group of people than anything else because we're so loyal to this event. I mean, I'm
We
looking
are.
around the stadium and there's barely a seat to be had. So the NFL fans, whether they're from these shores or they've travelled in from US bases in Europe or they've come over from the United States, the British American football fan has put their money where their mouth is again for a game like this. You pay big money for your ticket. You pay a stack of money for your pint or your Coke and your burger or your hot dog. You're talking a lot of cash. You're talking a lot of money to get there because it's Tottenham, so you've got to travel in a certain way, and it's got its limitations in terms of getting in and out of the stadium. It's not easy. It's great when you get in there, but it's not great when you come to leave it. So, again, the British American football fan has turned up, paid, jerseys, hats, burgers, pints, tickets, bang. I think they should get better than this. I think it should be better than this. And I think I think we could be more demanding as a fan base and say, well, no, it's not okay to roll this out. It's not okay to send the Cleveland Browns and the 0-5 Jets in back-to-back weeks and roll the Jaguars out every time when they're not very good. Because it's only been a couple of seasons when they've been any good. And I think that the British fan, if they do get an international series package, a television package in the US, it will be directly down to fans in this country because we had 4 games. We have 3 games now and we sell them out and we make sure that the NFL looks great in London so everybody else wants a piece of it. If London didn't make it work, it wouldn't be in Dublin, it wouldn't be in Madrid, it wouldn't be in Brazil. The British American football fan is the reason the international series works. The NFL isn't the reason the international series works. People who are buying the tickets and turning up in the UK are the reason that this works. That's why it bothers me. Because they can't be forgotten about in some mad marketing strategy where the vast majority of them aren't considered. Because they're still buying the tickets and they've made it what it is. And don't disrespect that as a league. Because without them, you've not got the international series. So instead of looking at other territories and saying, oh, we'll stick the better game there because we want to build it. No, reward the loyalty of the people in the United Kingdom who are the reason why you can even consider having a 9:30 slot Eastern time every week because the British fan with the international series has bloody well made it. And it winds me up like mad that could ever be taken for granted. I can't abide the notion.
Ladies and gentlemen, Darren Fletcher.
He does.
I love it.
Everybody else is patting everybody on the back. It's our fan base that's done it. Let's not forget that. It's our fans that have done it. The people, and you go down there and they're great, aren't they? You have a conversation with every second person you walk past wants to have a conversation about it. They're excited and they've made it.
It's a brilliant atmosphere, Darren. It's a brilliant atmosphere. So all we're saying is, look, it's just time that we had a look at the schedule when it comes out and say it's about time we reverted back to paying a little bit of respect to the London fans and giving them a decent game. There are some great games. There are some great games out there.
Yeah. And start sending the superstars over. I'm looking at this pitch today. There's not a superstar on there, on either team. There's some good players, and there's some potential superstars. Benito might be a superstar, the pass rusher for Denver, who might set a single-season sack record this season if he carries on. Bo Nix might be okay, but he's never going to be John Elway. But send the superstars over. There's a buzz when Aaron Rodgers is going to play. There was always a buzz when Tom Brady was coming. Send Patrick Mahomes over. Send Josh Allen over a bit more. When Josh Allen was here, people were buzzing in the concourses before the game started. But when Josh Allen comes, introduce him to the wider public. Let everybody see that he's here. Let's hear from him. Let's get to know Josh Allen. Let's let him do the radio stations and the television channels. And as an NFL, let's bend over backwards to make it happen. Let's discuss it with the Bills and say, look, we're going to need a bit of Josh. So how's it going to fit in with the week? Because we've targeted certain things that we want him to do. We want to introduce him to the United Kingdom as a man rather than a guy in a helmet who throws the ball around. Let's get to know him a little bit. And let's do that. This is the point. Send the superstars. Let's get to know them, and it'll all work better.
Yeah. And the thing is, like, if you look at a show like the Graham Norton show, for example, they always have Hollywood on that sofa.
Of course.
So Hollywood would know who Josh Allen is. Hollywood would know who the quarterbacks are. You know? So they have got a legitimate excuse to have Trevor Lawrence on the sofa with an A-list star. You know, I'm doing the one show this week, and we've got the fella from Magic Mike on,
Right.
who's massive, you know, and he will be on Graham Norton.
So I understand.
As a star. You know, and Channing Tatum's huge, so it's obvious that he's going to be on Graham Norton on Friday night. Imagine if he was on Graham Norton on Friday night and you've got him sat next to Trevor Lawrence on a Friday night, talking about fitness and regime and sport and stuff. Amazing.
Yes. Yeah. I don't know where it's gone. I don't know where the. Surely they'd take him. They'd take him, would they, Vernon? I mean,
of course they would.
You take him on the one show.
It would need a little. The problem that we have on the one show, and I'm not speaking on behalf of the producers, I'm speaking from what I know personally, is you have to build that relationship with the audience and the guest very, very quickly. And in previous years, they've had basketball players on who've come over for the NBA games, and they've pretty much been mute because they've had jet lag. And it's very difficult to then convince a production team that, look, this American superstar is a great conversationalist. We're going to have a great fun. We're going to have a good time with this person. Well, they've said that before, and it's really difficult because they might have jet lag and they might not be up for it. And, you know, it's a magazine show and they may not get it. So from that side of things, there is a little bit of a gamble and a risk as to how good the guest is going to be. But, however, if it's someone like Roman Kemp or myself as a host, you're going to bring that American football guest alive because we know a little bit, you know?
Yeah.
So we'll see. But I think this pod, it will raise a few eyebrows, Darren, what we've said in the last 30, 35 minutes, because everyone assumes that everything is just absolutely beautiful and wonderful, but yet we seem to be looking at it through rose-tinted glasses.
Yeah, I just thought when we sat down today that it just needed a bit more of an honest conversation about it, really, because as I say, we're both guilty of it. You know, we used to work alongside Alistair and David when they were in the office, and more recently Henry and some of the guys in there, and they would ask you to help, and you were happy to because you could see the potential of it. But it just seems to have hit a bit of a flat spot in terms of where it's going. And my worry is that as this international series gets restructured to fit this supposed television schedule back in the US, that we start to get cut and we get less games, and we're not the first thought in everybody's minds, that other territories will come in and nick the better stuff. And it's like the shiny new toy. That, you know, they'd be, oh, well, that's okay. We know they're all going to buy over there, so, you know, let's play with Paris for a bit, or let's play with, I don't know, wherever they're going to take it to, Amsterdam. I have no idea where they're going to go next. Let's play with Saudi Arabia. Let's go and do, you know, let's send the big hitter to Saudi Arabia, and we'll see what happens. I don't want us here, and I think that our office here has a real responsibility now to look after our fan base, to make sure that they do the job in the way that they cannot restrict London because it's so important. So I think it almost needs to be looked at to work out what they're going to do. Otherwise, I fear, even though we will get games, and I said that earlier in the pod, because it will be one of the territories, what you don't want to do is find those games being restricted based on the fact that it's not growing at the rate that they thought it might. Because I think bad decisions are being taken within the room in terms of how they're going about it. There was a flag game last night, Saw some clips today. Didn't know many of the people who were in it, but I wouldn't, would I? Because it's not for me. That's the slogan. It's not for me. So I felt good about the fact I didn't really know who many of them were because it's not for me. So that was right. But I looked around the room, hardly any seats, and all of those weren't full. So I could see the concept, I could see the idea, but again, you're only hitting a very small target area of the NFL fan base in England or in the UK. You're not aiming for the masses. You're aiming for a small portion, which surprises me, baffles me. I'm not a marketing guy, but I don't get it. Genuinely don't get it.
Well, here's to the Tennessee Titans versus the Carolina Panthers next year.
Yeah. Well, there you go. I mean, this is it. Next year, right, after these games we've had so far, Mike's gone. Next year, after the games we've had so far, if it pops up on the schedule, I'm expecting, I don't know, Kansas City against Denver in a big AFC West game. You know, I want to see a game like that. You know, bring big people over, bring Mahomes over, bring me Josh Allen against Pat Mahomes, and stick that on at breakfast in the US. Make a bold move and reward the fans. Don't send me the Cleveland Browns again. Don't send me the Jets again. I've got to put up with the Jags, so let's hope they're half decent. But even if they are no superstars, really, so send our fans proper superstars next year. Send the Eagles over. You know, send all those Super Bowl winners on that team. Give us Philly against Dallas. Just give us a game. I look at these games in Brazil; they're fantastic. You know, you got Mahomes against the Chargers opening night. We're watching the Jets against the Ruddy Broncos here.
Yeah, it's true.
Come on, the games that are in Brazil are really good games. Tend to be really good games. And I'm looking at this. I'm thinking, we've got to give the fans in England some of these games. It's only right because, as I said earlier in the pod, they've built it for you. Our NFL fans have built it for you.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's just have a quick recap on the trip, Darren. We're going to LA to watch the Rams take on the Seahawks, which is going to be a mega game. And then we've got a little bit of a road trip on that Monday morning. We're going to drive from Los Angeles all the way to Las Vegas. And Monday Night Football is going to be the Dallas Cowboys at the Raiders. And that is teeing itself up to be a pretty decent game.
We've also got the USC Trojans in the Coliseum on the Saturday. So we've got the big college game as well on the Saturday. So, and I mean, the Coliseum's iconic. The Olympics back in '84 and all that kind of thing. So, an iconic stadium to visit. I mean, SoFi's nice. Allegiant Stadium's nice. But there's history seeping out of every brick in the LA Coliseum. It will conjure up images of Carl Lewis taking the baton, the anchor leg of the 4x1 to equal Jesse Owens with 4 goals. It's indelibly that sporting moment is one of those moments that's indelibly inked in my mind. And I remember
Thompson's backflip. Thompson's backflip.
Ron Pickering was the commentator, Vern, and all he said was, because obviously it doesn't take long from the minute Lewis gets the baton, based on the fact he's doing it with a running start. He's doing his 100 metres in less than 10 seconds because he's had the running start, so he's not coming out the blocks. All Ron Pickering said, and it was brilliant commentary. And you know, I do commentary, but I wish I could do it as well as people like him just once, you know, and all he said was, as he came round, the other US athlete puts the bat on in Carl Lewis's hands. He's 100 metres away from a 4th gold medal, and all Ron Pickering said was, and now the big man's got the baton. That was it. And he just let the crowd take Carl Lewis home. That was it. 4 golds, and all he said was, and now the big man's got the baton. That was it. And I thought, nailed it. Hairs were standing up on the back of my neck thinking about it now. It's mad, that, isn't it? Just little lines in that. But, so I can't wait to go in there. And to tell you what there is, be great for people who come. When you walk in, on one of the walls, there's a gigantic copper sign. And every gold medalist from that Olympic Games is on there.
Wow.
So like I think Malcolm Cooper won the shooting for us that year. Gold medal for Britain. Malcolm Cooper, he's on there. They're all on there. Daly's on there. They're all there. Whoever won a medal in 84, they're all on that list. And you go and look at it and you think, wow, there's some of the great world champions, boxers on there because they had such a great team in 84. Pernell Whitaker, Holyfield, Meldrick Taylor, great fighters, Mark Breland. They're all on there. And you look at it and you go, wow, it takes you back. It's huge. It's this huge board and everybody's on it who won a medal. And then you try and find the Brits and what have you. Obviously, Seb Coe's on there because he won 1,500. So you find Seb and all this. Fantastic. So I'm looking for, I'll go, I've seen it before, but I'm going to go and see it again. It's like, you can't beat it.
That is amazing. Yeah, so it all takes place on that weekend. The Rams taking on the Seahawks at SoFi. It's going to be good. Darren, thank you as always, my friend.
Top man, enjoyed it. I think we might have stirred a hornet's nest. Feedback incoming.
Yeah, exactly. And let us know what you think. Remember, you can get in touch via the Extra Point Pod Instagram page. Slide into direct messages. If you've got a comment, we'll read them out and we'll answer questions. We'll take questions. We'll take your opinions, your voice, because that's what a podcast is all about. Slide into the DMs on the Extra Point Podcast Instagram page and we will raise some of your points.
Just one thing to say before we get out of here as well. There's two channels covering the game at the minute, right? Channel 5 and Sky. Jason Bell is on one channel and O.C. Umenyiora is on the other. And in my opinion, they are fantastic together. So please, someone, reunite O.C. and Jason because they are NFL coverage in this country, along with our pal Neil. Please put them back together because they're very, very good separate, but they're absolutely fantastic when they sit next to each other. So can someone please just put them back together where they were before, get rid of the split, let's have OC next to Jason, because that is the dream team. And when they're not together, it's not quite the same for me. So please put OC and Jason back together. There is a plea. I would like that to happen.
They're probably in studios next door to each other, so they should just take away the partitioning wall.
Yes, exactly. Just put them together. You know, that's like having Ant on one side and Deck on the other. Just stick them together. Yeah. Great together. Did you see Eric Morecambe on his own on that ITV show? Ernie Wise was better on BBC One. Oh, they're quite good together. But you see the... Oh, I don't know. I'm going for it right now.
All right, cheers, Fletch.
Ta-da.